Okay, so we're recording and it is Tuesday and we should be on chapter 3, which is business basics. So a couple of you have done this, at least gone through the chapter, but you haven't gone through the work for this week. So there's going to be some things that you're going to have to do. So what I'm going to do is go through the list. If you've got a pen and a pencil that we're going to be doing on the sidelines here, I will actually type up the key terms and send it to you in the zip whip, okay? That'll be easier for you. But the rest of this, you're going to have to do it because this is a business plan, okay? I want to make sure I got everybody's resume and grad plans. Did I get those last week? Okay, because I'm going to have to pull them this week because all that paperwork goes in the office and then Ms. Sue pulls it and does the time and all that stuff, and then I have to pull it to put it in your grad file. So I just want to make sure that they're all there, okay? All right, your business plan. You can do this two ways. You can do a model, like a 3D model if you want. There's a bunch of different things that you can, use and be creative to make it. But think of your salon as like a goal, okay? You can't really focus on that goal unless you've got something that you can physically see, okay? Whether it be in a business plan that you want to write out that you can submit to the bank, or you can do this 3D model, okay? So the 3D model would mean you'd still have to do what's known as a price sheet. Remember the price sheet you guys made before for me? You can use that as part of your salon business, okay? So you have to have a service menu, basically, with the prices on it, okay? You need a name, okay? You need a color scheme. You're going to need a business card, and you can actually go online and design one and just print up that one for me if you want, unless you already have business cards set up. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, you're going to need a fire insurance list. Okay. And what that basically means is this: everything in your salon is going to have to be accounted for in an inventory. Okay, down to, like, I have a box of tissues, or I have 3 packages of iPads, or whatever it is, okay? So you're gonna do 2 lists. One of them is gonna be on equipment, okay? And the other one's gonna be on supplies, all right? So equipment would be like your wax pot, your facial bed, anything that has to do with the services that you're doing. The supply list is gonna be like your retail line, okay? Putting that in the back bar, all right? And don't forget you have a retail line that you're gonna have to include in there, basically a cost. So I'm gonna give you a hint at about anywhere from 1,500 to $5,000 is what an opening order would be to start off. And then they're giving you a little bit of back bar and they're giving you a little bit of retail line. So that's like your opening order. So if you want to just put an opening order down there and what it is, but you got to put down, like, okay, in my opening order, I got 6 cleansers, 8 ounce, or, 2 ounces of 16 or 16, 2 16-ounce ones. You have to make a list of everything in there, because if you go to do your insurance, they're going to want to know, well, I can't just give you money because you said you needed it. You're going to have to show an inventory list to them. So that's what the fire list is. And the reason why I call it the fire list is because we did have a fire here, so we had to make sure everything was up to date on what was where and where it was at. So equipment is going to be on one, and then your supplies are going to be on another. And don't forget even toilet paper, okay? Laundry soap. Those things all need to be put onto your list, okay? Even a washer and dryer if you're going to have a washer and dryer on your facility, okay, in your little salon. So if you do just the salon, all you have to do is that fire list, okay? You don't have to do anything else because it's pretty much going to have your business name and everything on it, if that's what you choose to do, okay? But if you want to do the business plan, there's a little bit more than you have to do. You have to do the salon name, the color scheme, so like little swatches of it. You can go to the paint store or even like Walmart, you know what I mean? And it has swatches in their paint thing. Just pick some colors out that you like if you want to do it. It's kind of giving you a visual on what you want for if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? That's how I looked at it, okay? I found all kinds of things that students have used prior to, like, what they made their little models out of. You know those little those cones that they have in the doctor's office that they check your ears with? Kind of goes on top of one of those little scopes, right? Well, we took a bunch of those off the wall one day. They're all black. And we turned them upside down and we used them as sinks. So they were like little sinks all the way around the place. And then I've
Oh,
used
how cool.
compacts, like all kinds of stuff. So you can like bend and model, do anything you want to make it look like your little shop if you want to do a 3D model. Because that's always fun, okay? And do you want to own a salon that has chairs for hair too, or is it just skincare center? You know, this is what you're going to be deciding, okay? So you got your price list, which is your salon menu. You already did that, but you want to turn that in with this package. Your business name, your business cards, okay? Your fire list, okay, supply equipment, and don't forget your retail and anything else that you're going to have in your salon. Okay, so if you put a cabinet in there, a really nice antique cabinet to put all of your retail in there, you're gonna have to, you know, put that in there too, because that's gonna be a cost that you actually put out. All right, if you wanna get reimbursed for it from a fire, because it could happen, all right, you've gotta list everything on there, okay? So I'm gonna give you until the end of the week. So that's basically your homework all week is to work on this, because it might take you a little bit of time each day to do it. And then one more thing, do some type of advertising, okay? I don't care what it is. Think of it either a percentage off or something to introduce you into the community, something, okay? There's just some type of advertising on there. I don't care what it is. You can cut out Dermalogica and say, you know, you got your Dermalogica there and print it up that way. I don't really care how you do it, but put it together neatly so that it looks like, because when you guys all come back in here, because I want you to bring it in on Saturday, we're all gonna look at each other's. I'm glad we're coming back on Saturday. It's a perfect chapter to do. Are there any questions so far on what you need to do? No one's asking questions yet. Huh? Go ahead.
Do we have to do a 3D model or was that optional?
You can do a 3D model or you're gonna do a business plan and you have to
Okay.
all of those other things too, okay?
Okay.
If you do the business plan, all you have to do is a fire list, okay? That's it.
Okay.
All right, but the other one, you have to fill in all the rest of that stuff, okay? Does that make sense? All right. I usually have a bunch of them here, but since we kind of went on COVID, everything got put away. So I will look around the school and see if I can find one of the old models that one of the students had left here. I know that Melinda, she's still one of our students in our classroom, but she gave me hers to use for my roommate's daughter, because she's like 10 years old and she wanted to do a little dollhouse, right? So we changed the rooms and tried to make it into a little house because hers was made out of wood. And like we bought furniture and all this kind of stuff to put in there, and then she turned it into a coffee shop. So it's come in handy a lot of times to do stuff like this. So is everybody got their assignment for this, right? You're also going to have to do your key terms, obviously, and your study guides, right? For the rest of this week, because that's what you're going to be doing. And if someone still has time and wants to get credit for it, they can work on that DNA. Okay, we got to get that one done too. All right, got to get it done like ASAP. I want to get it done before October, please, so that we can at least have 2 months of using the Dermalogica classes. Okay, nobody has questions, huh? Okay, you're doing pretty good. Let me close my door real quick. Okay, so occasionally I'll have to put this silly screen on because I do have a student here. Okay, just an FYI. Angela was the only one that saw me in here with that on earlier because I needed it on because I have a manicurist working on the other side. She won't be here the days that you are here. Okay, she's only here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Okay, so we're on chapter 3, right? And so chapter 3 is broken down into two like sub-chapters. And the first one is on starting a business, okay? And it covers like self-appraisal, plans for a successful skincare center, business essentials, and your finances, okay? Your second half is gonna consider operating that business, okay? Income and expenses, hiring, your philosophy, policies, and procedures, All of that stuff comes in handy. Because really, when you want to go out there and open up your own business, you want to make sure you're following these steps, because you'll have something to fall back on those policies and procedures. If someone gets stuck doing something, you know, you're always going to give somebody that book so that they can see what you want and expect of them, what their job duties are. And if they're not doing that, then you're not giving your raises, or you can let people go because of those things. So it does help in the long run having that policy book. All right. So the first part of this is, like we said, okay, is self-appraisal. Okay. So this is before we do your little study guide. Okay. You don't have to be a master of anything to open up a business. You've seen that before. People go into business all the time and they don't actually succeed. Okay. But if you want to be a successful business, you're going to make sure you follow certain steps and make sure those steps are done so that you can complete them and everything works out the way it's supposed to. You may want to look for a location, right? All right. You're going to actually put down your little plan, like skincare trends, technical expertise, right? How about asking your clients and your customers for suggestions for your business? Okay, all of this stuff comes under just trying to figure out what you want to do, right? Believe it or not, nothing is for nothing. It really isn't. There's always a reason for something. All right. So go to your workbook page, okay, and you are on page 64, right? All right, and it goes through your self-appraisal, all right? And that first one is to recognize your skincare trends, right? What's going on in the industry? Okay, what's hot, what's not? Okay. Your second one would be to communicate with the public, find out what they like. Maybe they're asking for new treatments or new services. Your third one would be to accept suggestions from them when you're asking for their advice. Okay. The third part, or fourth part, is going to generate business, new business, as a matter of fact. Okay. It will help you exert self-control. Okay. It also is going to help you manage your finances or establish pricing, because you want to be in the same range for the area that you're in. You don't want to go too low or too high. Okay, but you want to be within the same range as most of the people in that specific area. And this is where you're going to set your business goals. Okay, the self-appraisal right now. This is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to get there, right? So skills can be learned through study, hard work, and experience. But remember me saying to you when you first started, I'm like, what did you do before you got here? Okay, because every little tiny job you ever did got you to this point, to where you are right now. So even babysitting, you had to handle cash, okay? You're going to be handling cash in this industry. So don't ever look at any of your business experience as not being worth it, because it is. It may have taken you a little longer to get where you wanted to go, but it's worth it, okay? So if we look to finances, all right, this is before you write into your little workbook. When you start a business, it's important to consider where that money is going to come from, okay? And how much it's going to cost. Okay. Are you going to have to borrow from a bank? Because most people don't have that cash right off the bat. Okay. So are you going to be a good risk for a bank to loan you any kind of money? Okay. Most people like to seek a loan from as few people as possible. Like, I don't want to borrow from my aunts, uncles, and nephews just so that I don't have to borrow from the bank. Okay. I don't know about you, but business finances with family doesn't always work out so great. But under your finances in your book, you're going to have to put in there, you must have a good, have proof of good risk, meaning you pay your bills on time, okay, that they want to allow to loan you that money, okay. A lot of times doing this business plan, if you're doing it professionally, you can actually look up the guidelines online to show you how to do this business plan that way. But by the time you're finished, if you do it more thoroughly than I asked, just following the guidelines that they give you, you can actually use that to go in and ask for a loan. So just an FYI, thinking about that so you don't have to redo it later on. But what you're going to have to do is prepare a business plan and a personal financial statement, okay, in order to secure that loan. They're going to want to know what's going on. All right, so that first business plan, right? This is the central company document that you and your employees will use to make decisions. Okay, so I'm going to go by step by step by step, the way you were supposed to do this. So that first one is going to be your executive summary. Okay, what are you going to do? What's the name? All right, so your executive summary. Your second one is the origin of the company. People love to hear a good story, a rags to riches little story sometimes, you know. It's kind of crazy, but it's true. When you look back on other people that have actually succeeded and they tell you that, you know, they put everything they had on the, the line, you're wondering, God, I don't know if I would have the guts to do something like that, but it takes risks. Your third one's going to be your company goals, okay? What are you going out to do? And you're going to be able to complete them. And you want to make sure you're getting to those realistic goals and not just something that you can't attain, because if you can't attain it, it's not going to be really worth a goal to achieve. All right. The next part is market potential. Okay. How many people in the area? How many salons are there in the area? How many are doing what you're doing? Okay. You don't want to oversaturate the market. Market strategy. This follows in the same guidelines. You're going to have a 3 to 5 year financial projection. How much money do you think you're going to be able to make? Okay, within 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and up to 5. And then if all else fails, what's your exit plan to get out, causing the least amount of damage? And that means financially anyways, all right? So the business plan is going to have your executive summary, the origin of the company, company goals, market potential, market strategy, 3 to 5 year financial projection, and an exit plan. Okay. So go over to your finances on this, on your personal financial statement. Do you guys know what an asset is? Because sometimes people don't know what this is. Okay. An asset is something that you own right out. Okay. It's yours. All right. A liability, on the other hand, is when you owe money to that, like a loan, let's say. That would be a liability. Your net worth is going to be your assets minus your liability, whatever that number is, okay? Your bank is probably going to give you 10% of your personal net worth, which is going to be assets minus liability. So you think you're going to get a lot of money, so if you want $20,000, how much do you think? And a $5,000, let's just say $5,000 you own, but you're actually trying to get 5,000 more, okay? What do you think your 10% of that's going to be? 10% of 5? $1,000 maybe? I don't know. Yeah? Somewhere around in there. We'll get our numbers right. All right, look at it this way. Your book says average chair costs $7,500, right? To $45,000. Okay. So that's just for 5 people plus yourself. Okay. So go to page 65, and we're going to look at your business essentials, breaking down on ownerships, like different types of ownerships that you can have. All right, your first one's going to be that sole proprietorship. Okay, it's owned by one person, and that person takes complete control of everything. So they're responsible for all the bills, they're responsible for all the income and the profits. It all goes to them. So in your book, you're going to put in they're owned by one person in complete control. They receive all the profits, and they're responsible for all the debts and losses. Meaning nobody else can sign for it but them. That's usually what most people start out with. Okay. Your second option is a partnership. Okay. And this is usually owned by 2 people. I know you guys have heard this before. It's like, okay, be careful who you get into partnership with, because they can write and sign your name just about for anything. Okay, so it's like you want to make sure you know who you're dealing with. So if it's owned by two people, those two people share the costs, and there's a written agreement between them. Okay, so they're both responsible for anything that goes and comes as far as the business. All right. Your third option is going to be the corporation. Okay, and this one is owned by the shareholders. Okay, their income is based on the profits, and the shareholders are not liable for any of the losses. Okay, and then you have one more, which is known as a franchise. And these, you have to get a license for operation first of all, and then you're going to have an operating agreement with that franchise. So some franchises, I'm just going to use McDonald's or Taco Bell or something like that as an example. Some of them require you to purchase everything from the corporate company. So that means cups, lids, whatever it is, okay, which can actually cost quite a bit, instead of going outside to someone that's cheaper that has just like generic cups or lids or whatever. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. So be careful when you're getting into one of these franchises. Make sure you know what you're dealing with also here. Okay, you might have to keep the place open on certain hours because that's the company policy. Okay, all you're doing is buying basically the name so that you can have an income coming in, because people know that business, so they're going to come into that business. Okay, but basically you're not a sole proprietor in this type of a business. Does that make sense to you? All right, so let me ask you, what kind of a business do you want? Each one of you kind of take a minute and decide what one you'd want to start with.
A sole
So,
proprietorship, yeah.
until you built up enough where you could probably switch it over to, I don't know if I'd go partnership, but a corporation. Maybe I would still try and pull it up like that. I don't think I would go into a franchise myself. I would either go into the sole proprietor, and I don't feel comfortable partnering with somebody. I mean, at one point, it's a good investment for you helping, you got two incomes coming in, but then again, two people can write out information, and that's scary. It's like being married to somebody, okay? If you've ever been married and had to separate, you know what it's like.
Yeah,
A little issue.
I ain't doing that again.
All right, so expert advice. Okay, any serious future skincare center owner will need the advice of 4 key experts, okay? And I'm gonna tell you this right off the bat, it's imperative that you have an accountant that does this type of work and an insurance agent that does the same thing in this work. Don't just find somebody right off the bat, okay? Because there are certain things that you can depreciate in this industry. I mean, for the longest time when I did bookkeeping back in the day, we kept 2 sets of books. We had a book where there was paper trail, credit cards and checks, and then we had one for cash. Okay, so every week I would make a salary for my employees, and I had to do flat out cash that we got. They got a percentage of that. They got a percentage of whatever came in as checks and cards. Okay, and then they got their tips. So you want to make sure you're covering all your bases in there. Okay, I know you've heard of most businesses have 2 sets of books. Okay, it's not just the Godfather that has that. We all do our sane self to keep as much money as we can instead of giving it to the government. All right. An accountant's going to explain the types of business ownerships and tax benefits and liabilities for you in this industry. Okay, he knows the ins and outs of it. What you can actually claim, as far as business losses, for how many years, etc. Your insurance agent is the second one, okay? They're going to be handling risk management. So if you can replace it, don't insure it. Okay, that's the #1 rule. If you can replace it, don't insure it. Disposable things. Look at my phone like that. Even like laptops and like these really cheap computers and stuff like that. That's basically what it is. All right. Your third one's going to be a lawyer, okay? And this lawyer is going to help you with your written agreements. leases, okay, partnership agreements, whatever it is, you're going to need somebody that understands this industry. So don't use your cousin's boyfriend's brother, okay, because they're going to be cheap. And then the fourth person you're going to need is your distributor, one that's going to give you your sales products, your retail, your back bar. So this is the link between the manufacturer and the skincare center, okay? It's known as a sales consultant, okay? And they're going to be your ins and outs as far as information, what products you want to purchase, okay, what products or services that are going to go out, because she's out in the field every single day, just like you are, but you're stuck in one little area. She gets to see what's going on in every little area, because that's what her job is, to go out there and check that stuff out and to bring it back to you so that you don't have to go out and check it yourself. So has anyone even written to any skincare company yet to decide, hey, I'd like to try this product, send me some samples? The best time to do this is while you're in school, instead of like waiting until you're at the end, because you're going to be making these choices like really quick. I want to start working, but I want to start using what type of product do I want to use? Okay, you always want to have at least two, minimum two, because what if somebody can't tolerate something that you're using in there? Okay, so look at it that way. Okay, someone might have an allergic reaction or something that I got to have a backup that I can use on her. All right. So let's go through plans for a successful skincare center, okay? Number one thing is location, okay? This actually handles like parking, okay? I wanna say air conditioning, heating, that kind of stuff. It may sound crazy, but let me tell you, if I can do three things at once, I would rather go to the mall and get my facial and, take care of, buying that dress or whatever it is that I'm gonna do. But I'm in a climate controlled environment. Does that make sense? Instead of getting out of my car at all of these different places, okay, and getting out in the rain or getting out in the heat or whatever it is, okay? So think about your location not just means where it's located, but is my client gonna have easy access to it? Okay, is it gonna be convenient for her? So here's like the most expensive place you could put it into, would be a mall, okay? Because when you purchase some room at the mall, you're falling within not only, say a 5-year lease, let's just start with that one. Not only with a 5-year lease, you're gonna have a contract that actually tells you when you can open those store doors, when you can close those doors. You're fined if you don't open them on time. You're fined if you close them early. You're fined, a lot of different things that go within, it's like their own little city within that mall. You purchase basically a block of square footage, that's it, okay? There's no heating, there's no air, there's no floor, there's no walls, okay? When you go in there, you put all of that in there. And I watched us put a salon in there before, okay? And I'm thinking, like, you haven't even got concrete down and you're gonna put that up in 2 days. I don't know how, but they do. They put it up. But I had to go and put air conditioning and heating in there. And then when I got ready to leave, I had to pull that stuff out. It's amazing what you have to do when you're in a mall, okay? Sometimes if you're just leasing a building, you have a little bit more leeway. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. But okay, your most expensive is going to be in that mall. The second most expensive area is going to be like in a strip mall, like where a grocery store is. And then there's little stores there, okay? Because again, she can stay out of the rain, but she's not out of the heat because she's walking like that little plank for that grocery store strip mall. Does that make sense? But that's the second highest, okay? People can at least not get wet when they're shopping. This is how I keep thinking about all of these things when I'm thinking of that location, okay? I also have a high traffic area, like I would if I was at the mall. People are constantly seeing my business, okay? At the grocery store, people will go to the grocery store every day or at least, a couple of times a week, and they pass by your business. They may not come in there like right off the bat, but they may come in there later because you are close to a shopping center, okay? And just figure out the people that are in that shopping area, they're gonna be the ones that are gonna be your clientele because it's close to them, okay? Rental fees are going to be, again, the highest at the mall, second highest at a strip mall. Obviously, if you're inside of another building, it's gonna be probably the cheapest because you're gonna be renting by the square footage, or if you're inside of a salon itself and you're just renting that room. Okay, so there's different types of things that you can do. okay? And different types of commitments for your lease agreements. I used to think that all I had to do was pay my rent, $5,000 a month, it's always on time. You really can't do that. Let me tell you what happened in the mall, okay? Because they're on their own little entity, okay? They basically told us, all right, there's quarterly meetings and the managers have to show up for those, or the owners have to show up for those quarterly meetings with the mall, okay? When you show up, you have to show an increase in sales, okay? Increase in sales every month, or we ask you to leave and your lease is broken. So even though you have signed a 5-year lease, that lease isn't any good if you're not showing an increase in profit. That's why a lot of those businesses go into the mall and they're like closed down within a couple of months later because they can't show a profit. So think about that, okay? Think about that when you're going even into a strip mall. Are there going to be like stipulations in that contract? You don't want to be hung up on all that. I just want to own a business, please. Why are you putting all these rules and regulations on me? So think about that when you're actually looking for a business, okay? Am I going to get fined? A lot of times because they are strip malls, they will get fined, okay? But how many times have you walked by? Did you want Chinese food? No, thank you. What? I'm sorry. What do you think you're going to do once you get out there and you're trying to find a business? Let's say you go into a place that's already open. Okay, let's just say it's a salon already open, but you're just going to rent that room. Do you think you're going to want to set your own hours? Do you think she might want to have you stay the hours that they are open, like within a certain time frame? Like, or let's say you were the owner and you were going to rent that room out. How would you rent that room out? We're open like 10 to 9, Monday through Saturday. Sundays, it's like 11 to 5, okay? Anytime between those time periods, you can come in and use your room. But I don't want you here when the facility is closed, like after hours, 11 o'clock at night or something like that. People showing up at these weird hours because that's your business. Do you see what I'm saying? What would you want to do as far as an owner? Would you want somebody coming in those hours, or would you give them a key and let them come and go as they want?
Yeah, no come and go is not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for me.
I mean, I can give you a key and the business is always open for that, but I
During
don't
the
know if I
hours.
want, right?
Yeah.
And if you're an esthetician working inside, like renting a room from somebody, and you're handling your own retail, you're going to have a lock cabinet for that so that you will sell it to your clients, or are you going to let the receptionist handle your product for you when you're not there? These are all things that you've got to keep thinking about in your business. I know you think it's very easy and we all want to, and then when you start getting all the headaches, you're like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't want to own my own business yet. Let me have some fun with this and build up a clientele. And that's good. That's where you should be. All right. Market needs. Okay. How many other skincare centers are there in that area? Okay. You can obtain a 10-year forecast from the city planner. Okay. What if, say, 10 years down the road, they decide to put a freeway in there? All right, you want to know what the city has plans for that area that you're going to be working in, don't you? Because you don't want to get a good business going up there and it's great right where it's at, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're going to tear up the city. We decided we wanted to do something else in that area now. So always check with the city planner to make sure that at least within the next 10 years, you're going to be safe, if that's what you're looking at. Okay. And then look at the cost of necessary improvements, because it's not ready to be used just yet, okay? So you're gonna have to put in some extra plumbing. Okay, they had plumbing in certain areas of it, but they didn't have it back to your treatment room. So am I gonna have to pay for the plumbing, or are you going to pay for the plumbing? Okay, that's what you're gonna be looking at. How much money is it gonna cost you to make it specific for your need? Okay, and that could be plumbing, it could be electrical, it could be anything. So you want to cover these bases when you're looking at your leases. Who's going to be responsible if something happens and it's not working? Can I call a plumber, anybody that I want, and get it fixed? Are you going to pay the bill? Or do you have a maintenance company that I should call and they take care of it? And how long do I have to wait while it's down? Okay, these are other things that you want to make sure you're covering. All right? So we covered a lot of like what type of a business you want and what entails in each one of those things. What do you still think that you want to do? Do you still want to work by yourself? Do you want to rent a room? Do you want to work in a salon? Because starting off by yourself right off the bat is not such a wise thing to do until you've built up a clientele. You want to be able to afford to pay for that room and still make a decent living, right, for it. And the way you're going to do that is when you build up your clientele. If you start to go out there and you've never worked, just because you have a license, they're not going to knock on your door and say, hey, you have a license now, I heard, so I'm going to come and have my services done by you. It's not how it works. You're always, from this day forward, always going to be promoting your business. And your business is you, okay? Estheticians are always looking out for themselves. Hairdressers look out for themselves, but estheticians, a long time, they usually don't have 2 or 3 of them unless you're in just a skin studio. If you're working in a salon, they've got 1 esthetician there, okay? Or maybe 1, 2 of them, and they split it between the days. So where do you think you want to go first? Are you going to apprentice with someone so she can help you and you can learn from her? Are you just going to work by yourself inside of something like that? What's it going to be? What do you think? Jasmine?
I think I'm gonna work with somebody for like a year, probably just to get kind of the hang of it and to earn some good tips. Because I feel like this is the best way to learn is from somebody else who's seasoned in the like profession.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then after that, I'll look into more of like going out on my own and then eventually opening up my own salon.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. What about you, Angela?
Pretty much the same as her. I have some friends right now that are already doing it that I'm kind of following with, and then
Okay.
getting experience and stuff. And then having my own place. I don't want to work for anyone else, really. If I have to get the experience, though, I definitely, like, that is on the plate, though, you know, to go out
Mm-hmm.
there and work for a spa somewhere, too. But
And
main
it's
goal
true,
is to
though.
have a
It is.
spa. I need my own spa, and I need to be my own boss.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to do full service, or are you going to do just skin, or what?
I think I want to do full service because I've always done everything. I even do nails and like pedicure, manicures, stuff like that too. I've always done my whole life, but I've always leaned more towards the spa, the waxing, the facials, stuff like that. So yeah,
There's a lot more in money made in spa services
I agree. I
than full
agree.
service.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
What about you, Stephanie?
Charge like $200 for a $10 worth of product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the margins are great.
I know, it's hard. Go ahead, hon.
I'm like in that little dilemma right now. I wouldn't really call it a dilemma. It's actually a huge opportunity, but so I have someone who, as I think I've told you before, I'm wanting to get in the meantime, or at least when I start, I want to just gear towards waxing. That's what I'm really like interested in. And I have someone who's very, very successful here in Turlock, working at a salon downtown. And I met her because I started getting waxing done by her myself. And anyway, she's actually pregnant right now. And so with everything going on with like COVID and stuff and like her working, she's like having to work a little bit out of home. I know that she's not really supposed to, so obviously don't say anything. But she's going back to the salon, I believe, at the end of the month. And so she wants to train me to work. So I have 1 or 2 options, and I'm still haven't decided what I'm to do because I really don't know what the best thing to do is. But I have 2 options. I can either like after I graduate and after I get my license, I can start off like on my own, completely out of the gate. But she's gonna train me, I guess, a little bit more in depth with waxing, and then she's going to have me take over her clients while she's gone on maternity leave. And she has so many clients that she can't even see them all herself. So she said that if any of the clients want to stay with me, that she would be fine with that because she has so many already. Or if I wasn't comfortable like going out and completely starting on my own, that I could, again, she'll train me and I'll work for her, taking over her clients. And then I don't know, like when she comes back from maternity leave, if then I'll like separate, or I don't really know. We haven't like talked like super. We've talked quite a bit, but we haven't talked like all our plan out, because originally she was gonna like have a lawyer and contracts. But now that like everything's happened with COVID, she was like, you know what? I trust you. I feel like a verbal contract would be good between us and we could work something out. But it's just kind of like, it's scary because, you know, it's business and I don't really know what the right thing to do. My family kind of wants me to go like on my own because they think I'll make the most money that way. But then at the same time, I've never done this before. So like, it just, I don't know. I'm just figuring it out.
Bree's going to be pretty decent with you. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember being in my class right from the beginning because I was teaching Cosmos and Estes back then, but she's really good and sweet. So she'll be
Yeah,
fair.
no, she is. We've bonded really well, and I definitely feel like we came across each other for a reason, our paths for sure. And so I think I trust her, and I know that she trusts me. It's just like deciding, you know, what's the best thing for me to do, because see, I'm 31 years old. The other girl that she was going to start training is 21. There's a 10-year difference here. Like I have goals that I have for myself. Like with me and my husband, I want to get us out of debt. I want to, you know, I have goals and set that I want to place. And so I don't know if like, of course, if I can start off the gate making the most money as possible, obviously that would be like ideal. But then at the same time, I don't have any experience other than just me practicing at home. And like, obviously I'm going to school now. And when I get out, like I don't know if you've like kept in touch with how she works, but she's quick. I mean, she's doing right now, only she's doing Brazilians, and she does them every like 30 minutes, but it only takes her like 15 minutes to get it done. So she's seeing 2 people at least in an hour. And she like used to, when the salon was open, she was working like 40, 60 hours a week. So she was making a lot of money doing that. And that's awesome, you know, but I'm like, am I going to be prepared to like handle that load? Do you know what I mean? I'm just a little nervous, but.
You know, I think the most nervous that girls have is because it's that area. So if you can get past that part, then you're fine. And, you know, I told her this too for the longest time. I remember when she was first starting, she's like, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't bother me to look, but she goes, I'm not fast enough. So I feel like I'm just, you know, people like think you're staring at them or something like that. I'm like, you know, you have to be a really good fast talker.
Yeah.
You have to make them comfortable. I go, otherwise it's not going to work. But
I think I have that personality where I can. I just like, I don't want to hurt them, you know. And I'm a client of, I get Brazilians done, and it's not the most lovely thing in the world to do, but like she, you know, talks it through me, and I bear it, and it's fine. And obviously now I've had like 4 now, and the more you have, the easier it gets.
Yes.
But I don't know. I'm just figuring it out. Like, do I go out off the gate on my own completely? And you know,
when you first start out, you're going to have that clientele coming in. So you're going to be
well,
trying to.
yeah. But the thing is, like, no matter what, I'm going to have clientele, because I'm going to have her clientele, because she's going to go on maternity leave and I'm going to take over her clients. And I can either be on my own taking over her clients, or I can work under her. And then like, she would provide the room, the wax, the everything, or I could provide my own wax. I already have my own pot. I already have a table. So like, I have set up for either way. It's just deciding that which route am I going to go. So
I think by the time you get ready to leave school, you'll have made up your mind. You don't have to make up your mind.
Yeah.
So just check to see how fast you get. And if you're going to time.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing too, because it is your speed. Everything has to do with speed, because time's money, regardless.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And if you can't do it fast, then you're not in the right business to begin with. You're slow.
Right.
Because it's going to cost you in the long run. All right, Griselda, your turn to talk.
I think I will start off by myself.
You are? Have you got enough
I
clientele?
think by myself, yeah.
Have you got enough clientele, like relatives and family, friends, and all that kind of stuff to get you going?
Yeah, I think I do. And then by the time I'm done with this, I think I'll add even more.
You know, I don't want to throw this religion in there. You know, I'm not talking about religion, but that is one network that you can pull from as far as your background, your church on Sundays. People want to come and see what you're doing, and they all want to promote the small businesses. So look at that as not being, you know, one of your avenues that you can use to draw from. Okay. You can run specials, you know, your mom's friends, her
Yeah.
friends at work, anything. You'll try anything to get businesses, but that's good. That is good. Do you want to just do facials or do you want to do waxing too or what?
I think waxing, because like you said, waxing is probably the quickest dollar.
Yeah.
Everybody wants waxing, but I do enjoy doing facials and.
Yeah. I know that was my favorite too. I was just like so relaxed when I gave a facial. Like it was kind of nice. That was my like downtime, I guess you could say, because the rest of the time I'm really hustling. Because when I'm waxing, I'm busy. You know, I'm working up a good sweat. But when I do a facial, it's like, okay, there's my relaxed time. So you got to make sure you do at least 2 of those a day to help you throughout the day.
Yeah.
Catalina, what about you?
I'm not too sure which one I want to do yet, but I kind of am leaning more towards just doing it on my own because I feel like I know enough people to get started and do better in that area. But I have been thinking about doing a salon or working for somebody else just for a little bit, just to get more experience.
Yeah, it will give you an idea of what is good and what is bad about being on your own. You know, I don't want to see you guys like get discouraged because you don't have enough clientele and then you just drop out. Most people, if they stay in this industry 3 years minimum, okay, they're in it for the long haul. So if you can hang those first 3 years, it's going to be a little tough. But, you know, depending on where you're at and what you're doing, you could be making a mint in those 3 years. But if you can stay in that long, you're going to be in it forever because you know that no matter where you go, you can build up a clientele. Okay, because you did it once before, you're going to do it again. So don't give up. Don't give up in this area. Because it is on something that it's not like you're getting a certain paycheck every, you know, you can't count on that. I'm going to get that $700 a week, or I'm going to get my, you know, insurance for this, my medical and dental and my benefits and all that stuff. You're going out there because now you're the one that's going to be doing the work. So the only person you can blame is yourself. You know what I mean? And I don't want to see you discouraged. Diana, we've been talking about businesses. So you're going to have to watch, honey, the beginning of this when I post it up this afternoon, so that you know how to do your business plan, because that's what we were talking about. You have this whole week to finish it, and you're going to bring it in on Saturday. Okay, you can do a 3D model, or you can do a package one. And so if you watch the beginning of the video, it'll tell you what things have to be covered. Okay? All right, and then you're going to be doing your challenges from 3.1 and 3.2 also, just an FYI. And then I'm going to put up the key terms for on the Zipwhip for you, okay? So you'll get those that you can define.
Okay.
All right, let's go into space requirements, okay? This particular part is going to be, what, number 1 is designed for a smooth and efficient functioning. When you get into these treatment rooms in here, they're actually a lot bigger than they need to be, let's put it that way, okay? And the reason why I say that, a lot of people think that those treatment rooms are just perfectly fine as far as space-wise, but Griselda, you've been in there and you've done a treatment on somebody, okay? Let me ask you this. When you're in there, everything's not at your fingertips, is it? Like you literally have to get up from the chair and bring it to you. And so that's what they mean by smooth and efficient. You should be able to pull your wax spot from where you're sitting, okay, so that you can actually do a lip while you're doing a facial, that kind of stuff. Do you ever hear your mom say, this kitchen is not designed for, you know, people working in it because you're taking too many steps between the refrigerator, the stove, and whatever, the sink, right? Well, the same thing happens when you're in aesthetics. So a smaller room where you can reach and get everything at your fingertips where you're not having to do a lot of extra steps. Sometimes having a sink in there, or at least being able to get the water and bring it into the room and keep it warm the entire time in case you need a fresh bowl of water, is the best thing. So when you're thinking along those lines, think of, can I fit everything in here and can I move it around to fit my need when you're looking for space, okay? The second thing you're going to look at is the overall visual appeal, okay? Does it look pleasant to the eye? Are my clients going to feel like it's pleasant? Are they going to think this is my garage that I just, you know, decided to throw a couple curtains up? All right, so is it going to look professional? Is it pleasing to the eye? I remember one young lady, I felt so bad because all she wanted to do, I let the girls choose their own treatment rooms because back then we only had 3 students in there, so they each got to decorate their room the way they wanted to. And one of them had like, it looked like a harem in there. These sheets that she had scarves hanging from the wall. I'm like, that's really not what I meant when I said decorate your room. But this is what she thought in her mind. So think about what others will see and how you want to present yourself, I guess you could say, okay? So is it going to be neat and clean? Because as an esthetician, you want it pretty much straightforward, clean. If you've got a bunch of stuff and knickknacks in there, it's just nothing but dust that's collecting, if you think about it. You want to streamline everything, okay? Little as possible in there, but it does most of the work for you. How's that? Okay? And I'm not just telling you about taking like one of those 8-in-1 machines and putting it in there because you can do 8 things in one. On your trolley, you can actually have cabinets underneath there where you can store things in there. You can store portable units in there and pull them out when you need them, okay? So that they're staying neat in there, and the room looks clean all the time, but you have them at your fingertips when you need them. Okay, this particular space for an esthetician is going to be 120 to 150 square feet. That's all you really need to work. You know, it doesn't seem like much, does it? It's like downsizing one of those mini homes. So 120 to 150. All right, what's my time now? Oh, we got 5 more minutes. I'll finish up the other requirements here, and then we'll go on break. So your little bullets for your other requirements. You're going to have an attractive and comfortable reception area where there's seating. Well, now we can't have seating right now, but we will eventually have seating again, I swear. Right now with COVID, they take everything out, and you're like, you have to stand to sit in your car. How fun is that? All right, so you want to have an attractive and comfortable area for them to wait. The second bullet is your service area for your facial treatments and mask, or makeup, excuse me, because I would do facial treatments in a treatment room, but when I do makeup, I may want it into a different room where the lighting is a lot better. Because in the treatment room, it's kind of like dark. Sometimes you might have on a heat lamp, so the ambiance is like an orange kind of, you know, or lukewarm red that's in that room, so it helps people relax. The third thing you're going to want is a dispensary. Where am I going to mix my supplies? Kind of like your little kitchen. Okay. Your overall bulk items can be in there. Your mixing products can be in there. Your next one would be a well-designed bathroom, okay, with a toilet and a sink in there. Okay, and you want to make sure that it stays clean at all times. So if that bathroom needs to be a coat of paint, better put that on there because that's like the worst thing. You might have a clean salon, but your bathroom looks terrible. No, you're gonna have a clean bathroom. The next one would be sufficient lighting and planning. So plan your layout, how you want it. Do you want people to come in through one door and leave through another? Okay. The lighting has a lot to do with it because when you go to buy jewelry, you go to the thing that sparkles the most, right? You want all those little diamonds in there and anything that just shines pretty. Okay, so when we want to do skincare, we want to make sure that we're using like iridescent or incandescent lighting, okay, as opposed to say like that overhead lighting that we have here at school, okay, that fluorescent, which literally draws every bit of color out of your face. Because when they leave here, they're not going to have any makeup on, so they want to still look good when they leave here, all right? So you want to have a nice lighting in there. All right, and your last one, you want to make sure you have heating and air conditioning, okay? Because that's really important. People want to feel comfortable when they're going in. It's the, you know, dead of winter and you're freezing in there. Okay, the client's not going to feel very comfortable considering she has to get undressed. And the same thing happens when it's too hot and sticky and sweaty. You don't have air conditioning in there, she's not going to feel comfortable. She's sweating all over your bed. So think of things that are going to make that client feel good. Okay. Is the area pretty? Is it neat and clean? Okay, can I see really well? All of these things come into play. So you might want to hire an architect. So even if you do have a floor plan, this one might use that floor plan to the best. Use it to fill whatever you want. You know what's kind of strange is when you first come in here, when we took this side of the building, okay, the aesthetics department, we really didn't do anything different about it because we thought we were going to open up the doors right here and let the students come in for aesthetics on this side. But when we found out that we have to have the same address, because this is a separate address, it was apparently from the mail. So in order to run a school, it all has to come in through one door. So we have to use our front door, okay, or the back door on that side, but we can't use a different address. And that's what this happens to be over here, if we try to do it. So, but it's set up where we have 3 treatment rooms, okay, and we even have a wax room. And then we have a general area where we can actually apply makeup where the lighting is really well and lit up in there. So it kind of made sense to stick the estheticians over here on this area. But think about how you want your place to look, okay, and lay equipment-wise and set up. All of that has to come in for that business plan that you're going to be doing. So I'm going to give you your break, you guys, because you are like writing like crazy people and listening to me crazy people. All right. So it's 11:59. I'm going to give you until 12 after. Okay. 12 after 12. All right. So I'll see you back here.
What are we doing when we get back?
Uh-huh.
Sorry, what are we doing when we get back just to be prepared?
We're on chapter 3.
Okay.
Okay. We're on page 66.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Angela, can you hear me? Angela. There you go. Okay, so Miss Sue is coming in to me to show me that you sent messages that you needed me to send the video, but you're not tracking time on
What?
there. You're not tracking your time on either like on the computer, or you're not going for hours last week.
So I go on and I do the you know where you go to you
That
log
little
in.
clock?
Yeah, I've been doing that every time I come on here to do work, and every time that I've been on Zoom with you guys, that's the first thing I do. I have the, you know, the little screen that pops up that says your end time or your beginning time has been,
Right.
yeah, I get that every time that I've done it. Like this one that I started today, I have that still up from when I logged in and started recording or doing the time.
Okay, and you turned in your work, right?
Um, the work that's on here through that pivot thing, that's done. Like the smart notes and stuff,
You took pictures of them and turned them in?
that's what I have to do is take pictures of the other chapters and send
Okay, I
those.
can't give you credit until I seen the work in there too, okay?
Say it again.
I said, I can't give you credit until you turn the work in too.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll do that today.
She came to me and she said, she goes, Angela's not doing anything. And I'm like, well, she's trying to get her stuff together, but she
No,
said,
no, I'm doing a lot. Like I have literally I have been logging my hours and everything. And like I mentioned, I printed out this other stuff, so I'll take pictures and send that to you.
okay, yeah.
All the chapters, the smart notes. The only thing I might not have is the what do you call them, our key terms for those chapters for
Okay.
11, 9. I did 2. And any other chapter.
Which chapters do you need it for?
I think, did we do chapter 1?
No, I think that was
That's not
next.
yet. Okay, so chapter 8, 11, and 9, I think.
Okay, check back on your zip whip because a couple of them were on there. If not, then just send me a message on which ones you need and I will send you a copy of them.
Sounds good. And then I'll
Okay.
text all that other stuff to you today after Zoom.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Just making sure I got that.
Sure.
Okay. Are we ready to continue, you guys? If you forget, you know, like to clock on or something like that, you can always go into Zip and say, hey, I'm starting now and I'm ending now. You know, I'm starting at this time and whatever time it is, because it'll register the time, and then come back on it again and say, hey, I'm logging off now, I finished my work. Okay, so just remember you can do both of those. All right, so we should be at equipment, right? We just finished the floor plan, which was to hire a developer or an architect so he can lay the layout for you. Okay, so the next part of this is the equipment, because you're gonna have equipment to actually work on this stuff. All right, so let's start marking off the things that you need. You need a treatment bed. Okay, can't do a service without a bed. Can't do waxing without a bed. Yeah, I really do need that bed, okay? The second thing you're gonna need is stools and storage cabinets. I've gone to Target and gotten like little cabinets and stuff if it fits my need, you know? In the kitchen department, they have trolleys and stuff like that that you can find. They're a lot cheaper than going on to like one of these places and ordering them from like massage companies and stuff like that, because they just run a fortune for that kind of stuff. All right, the third one would be facial or other machines. This might be galvanic, it might be your high frequency, okay, any other treatment machines that you want to use. Let's say you decide to use an 8-in-1. You want to put that one down. Okay. The next one are smaller tools. I'm going to say like tweezers, okay? Or an extractor for your blackheads. Okay, little pieces of equipment that you'll need. It go a long way. Who can do waxing without tweezers? I don't know. All right, and then the last thing would be a waxing unit. Okay, so you have a hot wax unit, all right, for hair removal, and then you can get another wax pot for paraffin, okay, which is a hot wax that you can apply to the hands, the face, even the entire body, okay? This is not for hair removal, it's for moisturizing or hydrating the skin, okay? So you've got treatment beds, storage, cabinets and stools, facial treatment machines, your smaller tools, and your waxing units, okay? So even in your smaller, like in your machines, you might have a hot towel cabinet, okay, a lamp, okay? These are all things that you would probably think underneath your equipment. You know, it's kind of funny because those lamps, we like to put the heating ones in the treatment rooms occasionally, okay? It gives an ambiance to the room already, and it also starts to heat the treatment room up a little bit. And you can buy those at Home Depot, which are cheaper. I call them the French fry warmer, because that's what it is. It's basically, it's just warming up the tissue. So they use it to heat up food in restaurants, okay? So you don't have to always go to just the aesthetic department to buy your equipment. All right, let's go over to page 67, where it's talking about borrowing money. Okay, most people will be willing to invest in you if you're going to invest in your own money. Okay, if you're not going to invest in yourself, they're not going to want to loan you some money either. So you must be willing to put some of your good hard-earned cash in there alongside of it. You're also going to probably look for getting a loan, right? Okay, you don't want to sign any type of a rental agreement until you have the loan approved, okay? And pre-approved doesn't count. Okay? Because what if the loan didn't go through and you've already signed this rental? You're still responsible for that rent, regardless. Payments, let's look at this way. You've got to make those payments on time, okay? In order for you, maybe you want to refinance later on. So you want to make sure that your payments are on time. You're going to have to make up what's known as a profit and loss projection, okay? To show how much you're actually making as a profit and how much is actually you're losing in this. The government gives you, I think it's like 7 years you can claim a loss, okay? After that, you've got to have to show something for it, whether you need it or not. So you go into operating capital, and this is the money needed to open up the skincare center. You want to be able to pay the expenses for the first 6 months regardless. You don't want to have to close the doors because you can't pay your utility bills, okay? So it's needed to open up a skincare center and pay for the expenses for the first 6 months, okay? They also have what's known as a reservoir of cash, okay? That you'll need to be able to stay ahead of the creditors. You want to be able to comfortably still make a profit, what you're trying to do, make a profit and still pay all these bills off, right? So having that little bit of extra cash as a cushion will help you so you're not stressing about whether I'm going to be able to pay those bills off. Okay, am I going to make my payments? Am I going to do all this? You want to make sure there's at least 6 months cushion in there. Track record. A good relationship with your bank is always helpful. That's what basically kept most of us people out of COVID for a while, because until the government decided to loan us some money, you know, there wasn't much we could do. And if you were behind in your bank payments and stuff like that, and you didn't have a good relationship with your bank, you wouldn't even have gotten these small business loans that the government's been offering. Okay, so you want to make sure you have a good relationship with your bank. It helps in the long run because they can get your loans out quicker if you have a good relationship with them. A line of credit. This is actually going to provide that reservoir of cash, I guess you want to call it, that you can draw upon to meet those operating expenses. You want to preserve those funds so that you can dip into them occasionally and easily, okay? you should be able to pay that money back as quickly as possible. So we're not telling you to like pay off your loans and nothing else. We just want you to pay that loan off quickly and comfortably. Okay. Rental agreements. We discussed that a little bit before. They're also known as leases. Okay, and they'll normally extend for about 5 years with an option of 5 more. Before signing any of these, okay, make sure that you have covered these items with your landlord or within your lease at some point. Who takes care of the maintenance for the building? Who does the repairs to the facility? Is it you or is it her? Do I have adequate water supply and capacity and pressure? Okay, because I'd hate to have the water shut off on me because my landlord didn't pay the bill. I need water to run my business. And do I have late night or weekend access to the building? Or do I have to basically be shut off from it until normal business hours come like Monday morning? So who pays the repairs? Do I have adequate water and pressure? And believe it or not, that pressure makes a lot of sense, especially in this hair business, okay? And even in your spa treatments, you want to be able to have enough water pressure to remove your products from your client's face or body. And do you have weekend access or late night access to the building? All right, so these all should be included in your rental agreements. At least somebody answers these questions during that part. So there's a couple different types of rental agreements you can have. You can have a fixed or you can have a variable. But capital improvements should be negotiated to be paid by the owner of the building or by the leaseor. So one of you has to make those payments. Who's going to fix those? Again, comes back to your contract or your lease. Who's going to take care of those repairs? So if you look at a fixed rental agreement, this is a set dollar amount paid each month. It allows you to predict your monthly expenses. So I already know that my rent is going to be $600 a month. It's not going to change, which is kind of nice. Okay, but there is another one that's called a variable. And this is usually a set dollar amount plus a percentage of the total monthly income. So she might say, okay, it's going to be 600, in 6 months, we're going to raise it. It's going to be 600 plus 10%. Okay. So you'll have to make sure that you're keeping good records so that you can actually give her her percentage. These are usually done in malls, like I said. Remember when I was talking about making sure that a contract in the mall is taken care of? Because they do that rental with commission. If you're not busy on a certain day and you still have to show a profit by having different types of products in there, like different lines of skincare products or hair care products or whatever it is, it will actually help you in your revenue to show that you are still in bringing in an increase in sales. You don't want to sign any leases until you're satisfied that it's fair and it's reasonable. Okay. There's no reason in doing that unless you're going to get what you want, basically. Okay, how about insurance? And we talked about this before because there's a couple of different types of insurance that you need to have. Basically, any type of insurance is going to protect you from a financial loss, okay? Or something that they call risk management, all right? Somebody gets hurt, something happens, you don't want them to be able to take your business away from you. So malpractice is the first one, all right? It's going to protect the skincare owner from a financial loss that might be resulting from negligence. Somebody left water on the floor, someone left an iron or some type of equipment like your wax pot or something on and it shorted out. Okay. The owner must insure each person in the center, okay, to cover the lawsuit or settlement that results from let's say, damage to the client, I look at it this way. The only thing that they're going to actually tell us that they could sue us for would be a burn. Okay, and we can do a burn a couple of different ways. We could do a burn because the wax was too hot. We could do a burn because the chemical was left on too long, or it was at the wrong strength for that client. Okay, when you're thinking about that malpractice insurance, the manufacturer has $100,000 on each one of its products that you use. But if you don't use them according to the manufacturer's directions, then the insurance is null and void. So you want to make sure that you are following the manufacturer's directions and using it correctly. Taking the proper precautions, doing a consultation on it, okay? Make sure you've done all the steps that you're supposed to, because if they're going to find a way, they're going to find a way so that they're not going to end up paying for that. So make sure that malpractice is if somebody gets harmed because of something that happened in that shop. Then you have what's known as property or premise insurance. And this actually covers the skincare center equipment and its physical location. So it's going to be able to replace lost items or carry a liability clause that will pay a claim if someone is injured on the premises. So if somebody just fell outside of your business on the sidewalk, that's where your property insurance would come in. Okay, where the other one was something that I did to that client, this one is they fell or something outside, tripped, something like that. And then you have your product liability, okay? And this is just recently they started to add this to the insurance coverage, okay? But it's going to protect the skincare center, the distributors, and the manufacturers from a lawsuit due to because somebody used it incorrectly. Okay, some companies require an educational program in product knowledge before they will actually grant you that insurance. Okay, because they want you to know how to use it before you do use it incorrectly. Okay, so your product liability is going to fall into what we're using as our retail and professional products. And your next one is the workman's comp. This is state regulated. Okay, you have to have this, all right? It's paid directly to the state on a quarterly basis, but it covers any expenses that results from injury to the employee. So this sounds so bad and horrible because in this industry, because you are doing a repetition of skills, all right? I was been in this industry since '76. And so I worked 20 years for one company. And then when I came up here and worked for somebody else, I got that carpal tunnel, which I thought was like a joke at first, okay, until I couldn't feel any nerves in my left hand. So I felt bad because the state actually goes after the employer that I've only been there a year, not after the employer that I was there for 20 years. You know, see what I mean? So that's why you need to have that insurance to cover you in different areas. But it was kind of sad that they had to fork it out on their state insurance because I had got injured a year and a half after I had left one other employment. So wherever you're working, you're going to be able to do that. But that's there so that that employee can't take your business away from you because you try to sue them. Okay, so you make sure that you have your workman's comp there. If you have an employee, you have to have workman's comp insurance. All right, it's crazy not to have it. All right, you have a learning connection, okay, near the bottom, and it says fill in the information for personal financial statement down below. You can elect to use your personal information if you want, or list the amounts from a fictional source that we've named, which is already filled in for you. This exercise is designed to help you become familiar with the key components of a personal financial statement used to determine your net worth, okay? So does it have any numbers in there for you? At all? None. Okay, so we're going to go to the assets, okay, and then the asset value, all right? So the very first one is a house. That's under your asset, okay? And under the asset value is going to be $50,000. Okay. Under the liability, this is your mortgage that you have on your house, okay? I want you to put in there $35,000. back under your assets. Okay, the next one's gonna be your car, all right? The asset value is $6,000. Okay. Go to your liability, which is the loan for that car, okay, is $3,000. All right, back to your assets. You're going to put in there savings account balance, and you're going to put $500. Okay, across from that, your liability, you're going to write loan for the school, and it's $5,000. Go back to your assets again, and you're going to add checking account balance. You're going to put $200. Okay, and your liability, you're going to put credit card balance, and you're going to put $2,000. Okay, back to your assets. You're going to go to savings bonds. Okay, you're going to put $500. Then you're going to go to liability. Okay, and it's money owed to the doctor is $20. Okay, back to your assets. Under personal jewelry, you're going to put $1,000. Okay, and under your liability, you're going to put money owed to the creditor, $50. Okay, now you're going to go back to your assets, and under household contents, you're going to write $20,000. And then under your liability, you're going to have money owed to family and friends. It's going to be $100. Okay. And then under your assets again, you're going to put other, and you have 0 on that one. And liability, other also. So what I'd like you to do right now is add up everything in your asset list and everything in your liability list and tell me what you came up with. Okay? So tell me what you got when you get your total assets and your total liabilities.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know who's that one, because it was one of the girls.
The manicures? Okay. She's over there.
Yeah, I need for the test 600 and up, I need the answer.
I gave it to you underneath all those papers.
I see the answer key reserve is 696, but.
They're both there. All right. Okay, I'll get it for you. Yeah, when you come back in, I have a little test for you guys to take. It's just the COVID test. Basically what you remember. Some of you haven't had all of it, but some of you have been here before, so it's like to refresh your memory. So have you guys finished your asset and liability? Yeah? What did you get for your asset then, Stephanie?
78,200.
Yep. Okay, Diana, what did you get for your liability?
Before I answer that,
Okay, got it? Okay, bye. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
for money owed to family or friends, was that 100 or 1,000?
100.
Okay, so I got 45,170.
Yep, that's right. Okay, now here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna do a little math problem, all right? You're gonna take your total assets, all right? And you're gonna subtract your total liabilities. And tell me what you got. Because that's gonna be your net worth.
Is it 33,030?
Okay, so now you can get 10% of that. Not much left, is there? So basically what you can borrow is $3,303 because that's what you have collateral for, basically. Like you're looking at me going, what can I buy with $3,000, huh? Not much. That's basically what you're doing when you're trying to figure out how much money you want to borrow and how much you can actually. And then of course, you know, it's payments and everything else put there. But that gives you a general idea of how you would have to make a financial statement for yourself. Okay. Everything that you own. Okay. And then a list of everything that you owe. Separate the two. That would be your net worth. And then they're going to loan you 10% of that. So it's like, oh crap. I need the 30,000 or something for business. I don't need 3,000. All right. You ready for page 69, right? All right, this goes through your expenses and income, right? So under your profit, I want you to write in there, pay percentage to government, okay? Because we've got to pay some of that to the government. Under profit, you should have pay percentage to government. And next to loss, it should say received tax credit. All right, under income, okay? This is all payments that you've received from your client for services and products. It's basically your revenue, okay? So income is also known as revenue, all right? And it's all the payments that you received from your client for services and products. So that being like the facial service or the bottle of cleanser that she purchased, which is her product, okay? Then we go into what's known as the OE or operating expenses, okay? And basically your operating expenses are all the costs that you will occur on a day-to-day running of that skincare center, okay? And again, it breaks it down into fixed and variable, but it's all the costs incurred in a day-to-day running of your skincare center. So if you have coffee every day, that's part of your running everyday expenses, right? Okay. Under your fixed, you're going to write, it's a no cost change from month to month for at least a year, okay? Under your fixed, it's no cost change from month to month for at least 1 year. This could include like rent, salaries, because you're paying people by the, you know, by the month or by weekly, and insurance. You already know what those prices are going to be, and you have that money set aside every month because you have to pay those out. Okay. Then you have what's known as a variable, okay? And this is when the costs actually change on a month-to-month basis. So let's say you're not using that much electricity in the wintertime because you're using more gas, okay? So this means it's going to be things like your utilities, the supplies that you need to run the business, you know, staples, paper clips, you know, pencils, pens, whatever. All right, plus promotional literature and postage and taxes. So under variable, you should have the cost change on a monthly basis. And that would mean utilities, supplies, promotions, and postage and tax. Okay, because they will change depending on what you make. All right, revenue projection, okay? This is the estimate of the amount of earned in revenue and amount paid out in expenses. So I'm gonna read that again, okay? An estimate of the amount earned, estimate of the amount earned in revenues and the amount paid out in expenses. Okay, this one sometimes is required by lending institutions before a loan is granted. So it could take a couple of months to actually get a good idea of what those numbers are. But it's done usually twice a year to help you make an educated business decision. All right. So all I want you to put in there is this. It's done twice a year to help with financial decisions. Okay. All right, under those expenses, okay, this is the number one, and this is a test question, okay? The largest expense is going to be for your staff, okay? Your salaries, all right? Largest expense is staff compensation, which basically means your salaries, okay? So if you see someone that's got this 20-room facility and it's all busy on there, okay, you have to remember that half that money, more than half of it, is going out for salaries, okay? The next part of this is taxes. Okay, so as a business owner, you're going to be responsible for making those local and federal government taxes. Okay, the owner is responsible for paying local and federal taxes. They always say that the owner is actually going to make a little bit more than the employee because of this. As an employee, you're paying a penny for every penny basically in tax, all right? But as an owner, you can get 5 pennies for $1. Okay, it's just the way they handle the taxes on there. So the first one is going to be your withholding tax, okay? And the owner will usually keep a percentage of this from an employee's income for paying for those federal taxes. Okay, it could be state, federal, and local taxes, and a social security tax. Okay, so in your withholding, you're going to write the owner keeps a percentage of it to pay for your taxes. And this is usually right off the top. It's the first tax that comes off. It's the biggest one. Outside of Social Security, it seems like that's almost like the same amount. All right, the second tax that's going to come off is your Social Security tax. And this was supposed to be a planned savings account, you know, for people that retire in the US, but there's no money left in that account. It'll also include Medicare, which is the medical insurance coverage that our senior citizens get. And a W-2 form, okay? You have to have one for each employee, including yourself, okay? And basically it's gonna indicate all the taxes that have been paid for the year. So at the end of the year, either you're going to give them back a receipt with a certain numbers on it that they paid into the system, or they haven't paid any and you're getting a 1099 form sent to you. So either way, it just depends on how you wanna pay your salaries to your employees. Is it by piecework, or is it going to be because you're a salary person? Let me tell you this though, if you are someone that says, okay, you need to be here from 10 to 6 every single day, regardless, okay? You are an employee, okay? But if I give you a set of keys and then I hand you a 1099, you are your own boss. You come and go as you please. You pay for things that you want for your services as far as like supplies and stuff like that. You're taking care of towels, laundry, sheets, whatever, okay? But all of the profit is going to you also, okay? But when you're a salary person, it's basically a percentage of it that the owner keeps just to pay for those towels and sheets and laundry and your rent, basically, in that building, okay? And you are an independent contractor. Does that make sense? So decide what you want your employees to be, okay? Are you going to have them working as an independent contractor and they just pay you rent, so you're only responsible for the rent and not taxes? Or are you going to have an employee where you are responsible for their taxes, their insurance, and everything else? So if I had a business that I had a lot of square footage, I probably would rent it out first until I could build up enough clientele in there where then I could switch it over to a salary. I mean, like an employee, okay, where I tell them when to be here and when not to be here. Because at that point I could make more money off of them as a percentage of whatever they're making. Do you see what I'm saying? You need that money up front to pay your bills so that you can keep the doors open, because your rent's like $5,000. So if I rent it out to different people and they're paying that monthly rent, I don't have to worry about the overhead on that part. Okay, but later on, when I've got enough clientele in there, or they've got enough clientele in there, I want to switch it to, an employee type of situation so that I can actually make money off of them. Okay, they'll pay a certain amount of rent and plus a percentage of that off the top, because now they're increasing their business. You see how that works? All right, I'm gonna have to stop here for a moment, okay, so that we can get your homework assignment in here and get you set up for the rest of the day. Okay, you have 2 hours on here, but you need to make up the other 4 so you can get 6. Okay, 6 hours. So don't forget to log on to the pivot point, okay, the lab, and clock your time, and then send copies of your work in, because I have to have the time and the work to match. You know what I mean? So that I can say that, okay, she did this work on this particular time. So when you hand it in late, it's kind of like I have to play catch up and try to go back and figure out what you did. Do you see what I'm saying, Angela? Okay. All right, so your homework's going to be, okay, your key terms, which when I'm finished with this, I'm gonna go type them up really quick right now, so you'll have them within the next 10 minutes before 1. Okay. Keywords, use smart notes or your study guides if you haven't filled that in, as we did them. Okay, and you're gonna work on your business plan, right? And if you need something and you don't have it, and you think maybe I can give you an idea, send me a text then, okay? And then I will figure out if I can help you make it or figure out what to do with that business. Because you can make a 3D model, okay, Diana? Okay, so don't get upset. There's ways to make all kinds of little things. I've learned this only because I was sitting on YouTube for like the last 6 months making furniture for a doll. Doll houses, okay? They've got great ideas on there. Do it yourself, whatever you write in there is do it yourself. And they show you how to do it step by step. All right, does anybody have any questions on the stuff that we've gone over today? No? Wow. Are you sure you understand what you're supposed to do for your business plan?
Am I able to do for the business plan? Can I do it for a wax center?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what you want to do. Yes, you can. So you just decide what you want to do. If you want like a full service, or if you just want, a room by yourself, or if you just want to do waxing, whatever it is that you want to do for your business. This is basically giving you something you can visually see. You know what I mean? You know how we have goals? I know that sounds really stupid, but when I was trying to lose weight, I put the little piggy on the refrigerator. So it reminded me, I didn't want to eat because I didn't want to end up like the piggy, but it was a goal to be able to see what I wanted to see. and focus it, a little light at the end of the tunnel. So use that same kind of analogy when you're trying to get your business started. Okay, if we haven't got an idea what we want, we're never going to achieve it because we don't know what we want. Okay, so that's what this is for, is to give you an idea of what you do want for your business. Okay, any other questions? Diana? No? Okay, do you want to call it a day today? Yes, ladies, that was quick. All right, we'll call it a day and I will see you tomorrow. All right, and I'm gonna go type up that for you so it'll be on your zip real soon, okay?
Okay, thank you, Jenny.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.